only thing that there's left to do is to basically give the entity that we saw the last vessel, and then we can finally understand who she truly is and what we really are. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just jump right into it. Approach the mirror. You approach the mirror, gaze into your reflection. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. You are nothing at all. But that isn't right. You can't be nothing. You refocus your gaze, and then you see it, a figure, faint and veiled in shadow, just beyond the reflection. Are you me?
I think you know what I am.
A crack slides down the center of the mirror, splitting the image in the glass in two. And then another crack forms, and another, turning the mirror into jagged shards of broken glass. So basically, now we get to just basically ask the questions here. This is the narrator, and I have very limited questions to ask him, but now it doesn't look like I have a limited amount, but I do, and I can show you why. So you're the narrator. I was wondering if I ever get to see you.
The narrator. Yes. I suppose that's my job, isn't it? You needed help, after all. An objective voice to guide your blade. But you were never supposed to see me. I wonder how many worlds you've damned to extinction to fall this far.
Every time I ask him a question, a piece of the mirror shatters and completely disappears. So we gotta nitpick here. We gotta nitpick our questions. I'm sorry, I don't want to destroy you. Will it help if I look away or stop asking questions?
We've already crossed the point of no return. There's no saving me now. Not that there's ever been much of me to save.
I've met you many times. Have you been the same you all along?
I haven't, and that's by both necessity and design. This construct you're in exists in many places at once. Anytime you failed, anytime you thought yourself dead, it would restart and shunt both your consciousness and hers into another world. But you'll be awake soon, and then it won't be able to work like that anymore.
So, at the moment, it's really setting up the fact that me and the princess is just this pivotal moment in all of the world. Because it seems like that only our essence, our being, is basically transporting to another world. Everybody else's memories kind of get stunted, which I guess by everybody else is like only the narrator, because the voices in our head also kind of remembers what happens. So everything else is just kind of oblivious. So you do know about the looping. So many of the times I met you, you denied it as even being a possibility. Why did you lie to me?
Any other version of me you talked to was just that, a version of me. It wasn't me. As to why they lied, perhaps they thought that admitting to it would have pushed you to certain realizations that would have made finishing your task impossible. Maybe they were just in denial. I'm sure many of them were convinced that they had to be the first version of them you'd encountered. Anything else would have been too existentially unpleasant. And for all I know, each of those other versions of me could have had entirely different understandings of how this construct works. Who's to say which of them are right and which of them are wrong, really? Except for me. I can tell you for a fact that I'm right.
Huh. I like how he says they probably don't know. But believe me, I'm right. I'm right. Are you a part of me, or are you something else?
No, I'm not a part of you. But that's all a matter of perspective, isn't it? From one vantage point I must seem wholly foreign, but from another, well, All the versions of me that have existed have collectively heard your every thought and driven your every action. If that isn't being part of you, then what is?
If you're not me, then what are you?
I am an echo, likely one of many. Somebody made you after all, and I'm what's left of him. Not that I'm the only one who can make that claim. I'm sure you've met many others like me.
If you made me, then what am I?
You're the long quiet, the god I made to rid the world of death.
In one of my lives, you doubted yourself. You thought all of this was wrong.
Oh, did I? That means nothing in the grand scheme of things. This construct you're in contains every possible world at once. The fact that you managed to find one reality among trillions where I was delusional proves nothing. Soon I'll be gone entirely, and you'll be left alone with your final choice. So allow me to make my final request. The princess contains death itself within her, but I wove you into being with all the power you need to destroy her forever. Do it. Slay her, and rid the world of death and suffering.
So, quick recap here. I am the Long Quiet. I already know the name of what the princess actually is, but I'm gonna let her introduce herself after we're done here. Um, so basically, the narrator is basically an echo of some type of being that created me, us, the Long Quiet, to battle the princess and to rid the world of death. And when we get into the princess part, you're going to see basically her side of the story and stuff, and how everything kind of falls apart and also falls together. It is very interesting what is about to unfold here soon. Are you a god, or were you a god?
No. In life I was painfully mortal, a witness to the end of days. I held the fear of death in my heart and saw oblivion threaten the very memory of everything I knew and everyone I loved. I needed to do something, so I made you, and I made her, and I made this place to hold you both.
That one is new to me. I don't remember getting that one out of him when I played. So, a mortal making a god. That is kind of a wild thing to wrap your head around. So, we can only assume that he lived in a part of his world where basically, as he said, the end of days was happening, everything was being destroyed. And he basically created us and the princess and kind of put us in like this kind of like this bubble pocket dimension type shit, and it kind of kept the world safe, but his end goal was to fully destroy the princess, which harbingers death inside of her, and that will save everything, and there will be no such thing as death anymore. I think you're out of time.
So I am. It's like I said, I'm just an echo. And echoes always fade away. You know what you have to do.
As the final fragment of glass shatters, you see yourself with newfound clarity. The narrator was right. You are the Long Quiet, a vast nascent. Am I saying that right? I'm gonna keep that in. I don't mind sounding stupid because I don't know words, but hold on. Looking that up. Nascent. Just coming into existence and beginning to display signs of future potential. Nascent.
Nascent.
Nascent. Oh, I was pronouncing it wrong. is nascent.
Nascent.
Okay. Starting from the top. The narrator was right. You are the lone quiet, a vast and nascent god. And it's finally time for you to wake up. All of this is you. Proceed to the cabin one last time. When you arrive at the heart of things, there is no final vessel for you to bear witness to. There is nothing for you to find.
I can finally see you, and you can finally see me. It's been so long, and my heart has ached for this moment. I've missed you dearly.
Do you know about the echo? Did you hear our conversation?
Every word you spoke found its way to me. I know him, and I know his construct. He was deluded by his fear of death. Pay him no mind.
I am the lone quiet, but I don't really know what that means.
Names are their attempts to capture that which cannot be captured. They call me the Shifting Mound, a pale imitation of what I actually am.
What happens now?
Ever the passive player, always reacting and never acting. But it's woven into your nature, isn't it? When the echo spun us from one into two, he gave you a choice and me a role to play. I am not death, but I contain it in my multitudes. So, will you attempt to destroy me and bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning? Or will you open the final doors to our liberation?
So that's something right there that it's probably going to get touched upon more. Trust me, it's going to. But where she says, bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning. Of course, that's an easy one that anybody can kind of think of, where it's like, you know, without pain, there isn't pleasure. That type of stuff. So if you don't die, then what is the meaning of living? Because at the moment, you know, it's always live your life to the fullest. You're on borrowed time. Do whatever you can and do whatever you want with your life before you lose it. So basically her argument is that he wants to create a world void of death, but she's saying that death is a necessity that gives you meaning. And she's going to argue her piece about that here in the near future. And I love this sequence that's about to happen. If you were always going to become this, then what was the point of me doing anything? Did it even matter what roads I walked if all of them would have led to this moment?
If you're saying that, it's because you don't yet understand. But we cannot use words alone to grasp at things that words cannot express. And you cannot rationalize with logic that which defies it. Violence and passion are dances that both of us know well. If this is what it takes to enlighten you, then so be it.
Here it comes. This is the part that I like.
Is a vine, and some thoughts nurture thorns that bleed the soul, and endless growth that blots your vision and strangles your trust. When I succumbed to myself, you patiently stood by me and cut the thistles that rooted in my skin. Your compassion is what freed us both, but compassion is a thing that must be nurtured, and you cannot nurture that which cannot change.
So basically, this is basically a gauntlet of all of the routes that I have taken. And it basically lays out basically the whole story and the meaning behind it. Your compassion is what freed us both, but compassion is a thing that must be nurtured, and you cannot nurture that which cannot change. So, again, the whole argument is that if you remember the route on how the Thorns went, it went from basically betrayal after betrayal. It was a constant change of trying to put our trust in each other, kinda, but it was really all about is they gonna backstab me, or you gonna backstab? Or am I gonna backstab you? It was just a lot of back and forth, but we couldn't get that beautiful moment of finally trusting each other and moving on without going through that struggle and that pain of constantly hurting each other. Was us hurting each other a good thing? No. But it was very beautiful and it was touching when that moment finally came when we could finally set that aside. It's taking the good with the bad. The bad is going to happen, but when you finally get to that good point, it makes those bad moments more worth it and have more weight to it. So I think with all of these, I'm probably just going to address the vessel statements directly. Like basically talk to the vessels and not the Shifting Mound herself. Because I just realized that all of these is basically addressing the Shifting Mound herself. Basically like, no, I don't want to do this. I'm going to reject your authority. Or, you know, try to talk. Basically all of these is talking to the Shifting Mound herself. And I want to talk about the vessels. So address the vessels. Of course I help you. I didn't want us to hate each other.
Then help me again. We are each other's liberation.
A boundless torrent of blades cut you from boundless angles. You are a body. You are gory ribbons. You are a body again. And you feel all of it. On and on it goes until your bodies are not your thoughts, are not you. Alive, dead, alive, dead, alive, dead, then alive and dead, and alive and dead, all at once. You learned to put yourself away, and in your stillness you rose above me. You died countless steely deaths, and you lived countless short lives, and yet it is all so far behind you. I pushed you to a greatness you never would have reached without me.
That is a wild argument to say, hey, I murdered you over and over again, but that made you stronger. That shit is wild. See, I'm reading these three, and this third one is really hitting me most out of the three. Even if the journey was agony, the end gave the struggle meaning. But would you really... Well, of course you wouldn't say that while you were still in the midst of struggling. Because nobody wants to struggle. Nobody wants to feel that pain. So, it's all over now. And you can say this. You can say this when it's over. When the journey is at its end. And you can look back at it and you're like, wow, that was horrible to go through. But, goddamn, does it taste good to be over that. But what about the you that's living in it now? They don't want to live in that shit right now. That shit's pure agony. I think that the third one speaks heavier to me than the other ones. If you hadn't snatched that body away, we would have killed each other. We were self-destructive. I mean, that is true. I feel like that the first one is a more rooted answer. Where, like, if you have full-on time to actually reflect, then you can kind of be like, yeah, we were very self-destructive. Because remember, in that last fight with the Razor, we mortally wounded each other. Like, yeah, she was killing me over and over again, and she was the only one killing. But in the end, we both grew strong enough to where we were able to just straight up murder each other. It was very destructive. I'll pick the third one. I think this one it sings to me more. Even if the journey was agony, the end gave the struggle meaning.
And even then, what we saw was not an ending. When I thought I had reached an unconquerable peak, you showed me how much further I could still climb. A picture of a life, and a picture of a life, and a picture of a life. How deep must repetition still our movements? until even the air we breathe is stale. You doused the flames of false devotion, and in my despair, you lifted my chin, and the two of us danced beneath the stars. But the stars can't be seen unless the flames go out, and the walls come crashing down. Can you not do for all things what you did for us?
But the stars can't be seen unless the flames go out and the walls come crashing down. Can you not do for all things what you did for us? So what I'm getting from that one is basically this whole point is the shifting mound cannot leave. This little pocket dimension that we're in is basically the cabin. It's always been the cabin. So with this vessel right here, this was the damsel where she was being held in the cabin by Smitten, and it was just a bunch of false devotion towards us. She never really fully felt that way, but she was just doing it for the sake of making us happy. But in turn, she was giving up what she always wanted to do, to leave the cabin and be free. And that was a beautiful thing that happened. I do believe we danced under the stars, right? Yeah, she really wanted to see the stars. So her argument is that if we stay here or I slay her and there's no death, then everybody's going to be stuck in their own cabin, so to speak, and they will never be able to see the beautiful stars in the night sky if they're constantly locked behind walls and the lights are constantly on. So this vessel is straight up spitting. I understand that. I really do. Yep, we did dance. Okay, cool. I don't want to hold a world still, but is suffering the only alternative?
There is no suffering but the lies we tell ourselves. The only real suffering would be a world without my mercy.
I half understand that. Like, when she says my mercy, I guess you mean like, so she's not just death, she's change. She represents the changing of the seasons, the changing of the tides, and basically without her, the world would just be a still nothingness. It's just there, it exists, but nothing new happens. There is no death, so there isn't no real rush to do anything. So there is no suffering but the lies we tell ourselves. She got a point. She has a point. Because a lot of suffering is we live in denial sometimes. And we tell ourselves one thing, but truly it's another. And we put ourselves in our own delusions. But then also you have lies from other people as well. Other people will also come and hurt you. The only real suffering will be a world without my mercy. And I can only assume that her mercy is, change. Like the whole argument of time heals all wounds. As you go through life, things change, things become different. And one wound that used to hurt you really bad from your past is still there, but it's healed because you were able to find or gain something else. And then you could also go the more, darker route of dying is a mercy. You don't have to live in it if you're dead.
What once was one, then was two, and then was one again. You gave me shelter when you burned mine down, and then you struck another match. I pulled you from the ruins, and then we built a life. What once was one, then was one again. The peace didn't last. The worm in your heart came for us. It took you from me, and I took you back. What once was one, then was two, then was one again. You and I are bound together. To rid yourself of me would be to leave yourself forever incomplete.
You and I are bound. To rid yourself of me will be to leave yourself forever incomplete. Again, this is another one of where I understand, but it leads to so many more questions. What I'm getting from this one is, so metaphorically, let's say you split yourself in half, not like your actual body, but like your soul, your essence of oneself. We are the people that we are now for two different things. The good experiences we had and the bad experiences. When something happens in our life, we will immediately connect to it like, did I have a good experience when this happened? 9 times out of 10, you'll probably do it. Did I have a bad experience? 9 times out of 10, you won't do it. I mean, it's just how all life is, and that's kind of how life grows. It's a lot of trial and error. It's like, oh wow, I stuck my hand in this fire and it fucking hurt. Not doing that again. But if we stuck our hand in fire and it did something to us like a drug, like made us euphoric, we'll do it again. So I kind of understand this one, where it's like, even though you struggled, that struggle is a part of you. And if you take that away from you, you're only going to be half yourself. That was terrible. I never want to be so close to anyone ever again. Holy shit. Just because we're bound together doesn't mean I can't be whole without you.
Could you bear the risk of seeking that truth? What if you're wrong?
And that's it right there. That's it right there. That was like really trying to get to. Could you bear the risk of seeking that truth? I love going down these rabbit holes and like asking these existential questions. But she's so right. And because I always think about it, okay, I need to make a decision. But what if I make the wrong decision? But there's no such thing as a wrong decision. Yeah, but what if it leads to a worse outcome than it could have been if I chose a different decision? And that's where the looping comes into play in my mind. I just go on loop because I'm worried of making the wrong decision. I like that quote. I really like that. Could you bear the risk of seeking that truth? What if you're wrong?
Fear is a chain around the neck and a needle in the eye.
That still kind of goes hard. Hold on.
It was fear that made our prison, and it was fear that told the lie that our spirits were not free to choose. But even bound, you saw a light, and you gave me the wisdom to speak my heart and shed my doubts. Without fear, suffering ceases to be. Without fear, death dissolves. Without fear, we are free to choose beauty. This construct is a machine of fear. It has no place in our divine hearts. Shatter it. Leave with me.
This construct is a machine of fear. It has no place in our divine hearts. Shatter it and leave with me. So again, the this little dimension that we're in is that's what the cabin represented in the actual game. The cabin represented this little pocket dimension. And as we talked to the narrator, the Echo, he said that his original self built this because he was afraid of losing the ones he loved, and he was afraid of the fact that their existence will basically just go into the void. Non-existent anymore. They don't exist anymore. This construct is a machine of fear. It was built out of fear of death. It was built out of fear of being forgotten and everything coming to an end. It has no place in our divine hearts. Shatter it, leave with me. So, with that one, it's just more like she's just trying to talk me up, saying like we're more above this. We live through all the pain, the suffering, the fear. We live through all that, and we understand that there is beauty within the pain and the madness. And we shouldn't just stay here, or you shouldn't subject yourself to this just out of fear alone. Fear should not stop you. But then it's also like, in an actual evolution sense, fear is what keeps you alive. Without fear, you just start doing random shit that can get you killed. So, I feel like fear has to be a part of her as well, but maybe fear also is a part of us. Oh, let me think. So without fear, you don't fear death, and you just do stupid shit that can get yourself killed. With fear, that keeps you from dying. So I guess fear is more of a us thing, because if we have fear, we try to stay away from dying, and to stay away from dying and death is to stay away from what she stands for. Okay. I kind of have to, again, the circles. I have to kind of talk with myself on that one. Death is more than fear. It is reality. Just because we can't reject it does not mean the world is free of it. That one's singing to me.
Their prisons are their own. But should we not give them the ability to find their freedom? If we can free ourselves, the world can certainly follow suit.
As the clasp between you abides, the princess relaxes, smiling from a distance. The respite is welcome.
Nothing is immutable. Everything that is exists only in relation to everything it isn't. There is no constant. There is no center. Open your eyes and accept what we are. We can leave this prison together.
It's easy to believe in the things you believe in when you get to sit above it all.
It is from my vantage point that I can see the totality of truth.
I don't know what the answer is, but there has to be something else. It can't be this. I won't kill you, but I won't let you free.
There is no something else. This, what we are, is everything.
Whatever you're trying to do right now, you don't have to do it alone.
Voice of the heroes here. Which hero are you?
All of them? I assume in the same way that you're all of you.
You have no idea how good it is to hear you.
It's good to be here. She's too many things all at once out here. If you want to get through to her, you need some way to get through all of that divine confidence. There's still a piece of me nestled close to where it all began. I can take you there. I can take you to her heart.
It's time to resume our dance.
She's relentless, isn't she? Let's make this quick. Are you ready?
No.
Too bad. We're going. Now. And here we are. I'd say we were back where it all started, but I guess it's a little after that, isn't it? Do you need me to describe things?
I like that. For old time's sake.
Yeah, of course. The interior of the cabin is, well, it's a cabin, yeah? There isn't much here, just a table and a knife and a door. And some windows. There's no mirror, either. I think you broke it. And I know you're still trying to find some middle ground, but if things go south, we're going to need that blade.
Is the narrator really gone?
Yeah, it's dead silent in here. Whatever it was that was left of him, I don't think it could handle you waking up to godhood. Pretty sure he got obliterated.
Is it just you and me? Did anyone else make it to the cabin?
It's just us. I think the rest of them are still out there, jumbled up in the rest of her.
I don't actually know how to feel about him being gone.
Yeah, it's complicated. He put us through hell, but he's been part of us since the very beginning, hasn't he? No
Into the
blade it
basement.
is. I'm not sure what we'll be able to do without it, but your judgment has gotten us this far. The stairs. Do you remember the first time we were here? The first time we heard her voice?
Have you figured out what you want to do yet, or are you going to keep trying to find a center that doesn't exist?
It sounded just like that. A little sharp, a little menacing. Only she didn't know us. And down we go. We shouldn't keep her waiting.
And there you are. Hands empty. So you don't feel like recreating our first meeting detail for detail. I wonder what else will be different. Maybe there's still room for us to chat before the final curtain call. What do you say?
I'm sorry for all the times I hurt you.
The first time we met, I cut your throat open. If anyone should be apologizing for anything, it should be me. You were only trying to help.
You know, when she puts it like that...
I don't think I want to be a god.
Doesn't matter what we call ourselves. It's just another label, and I don't think labels have ever helped us. All they do is cram us into boxes where we don't fit. Just like this cabin.
Are you the same as you are out there?
I don't know. I'm a part of her, I think. But she's seen so much more than we have. Like, she's seen everything, right? I don't think I could hold all of that without losing myself. I don't think you could either.
Which princess are you? You look like you did the first time we met. Is this the real you?
I'm the same princess that's been with you since the beginning. And I feel real. But I also feel like I'm a lot more than I was then. We've been through a lot together. I don't think there's anything more real than that.
So now that we're here at the end of everything, can you finally tell me your name?
I never had one. And do not call me the Shifting Mound. It's too much. But I've always been a princess to you, right? So why don't we stick with that? And as for you, well, hero works for me.
But that's me. You know, I think I like that.
Yeah, I think I like it too. None of this was ever really fair for either of us, was it?
No, it really wasn't. But just because it hasn't been fair doesn't mean that it hasn't been worth it. I'm really glad I got to know you.
And that's what I'm talking about. Even after all of that pain and suffering that we went through, that long journey of torturous agony, we would have never known each other if we didn't have to go through that. It's so good to finally see you again.
Right back at you. In a way, it hasn't been much time at all, but it feels like it's been forever since I've seen you. Thanks for coming back.
What do you think of her? What she wanted us to be?
I don't think she's the sort of thing you can really disagree with. It doesn't matter if she's right or wrong because she exists. She's this big, unrelenting force, and there's no arguing with her. But I guess that was the question out there, wasn't it? And it was the question before you came down here, too. Should she get to exist? I'm glad you didn't bring that knife with you. And like I said earlier, I don't really want to be her. I think I just want to be me.
Yeah, I'm happy not to be everything. Just being us is plenty.
Yeah, just being you is already enough on your goddamn plate. Being everything that ever was, God, that sounds like a headache and a fucking half. What if we just leave?
Do you know where this cabin is? Because I don't. I don't even know what's supposed to be outside other than us. What would even happen if we leave? What would that even mean?
Shit, we can find out. I don't know, but I always wanted to leave with you. I just didn't like being a god. I want to walk through the cabin door as we are. Just you and me.
I want that too.
I think I'm gonna stay right here. Whatever you're doing right now, wherever you're going, it feels like it's for just the two of you.
Are you sure you don't want to come?
Yeah, it wouldn't feel right. But I'll be okay. I don't think I'll be alone for long either. I'm sure I can find the others.
Leave with the princess. You lead and the princess follows, and together you leave the basement behind for the last time. It's quiet as you ascend, a comfortable silence filling a space that used to be flooded with violence and words and noisy thoughts. But there is an energy in the silence, an electricity, the anticipation of the unknown. At the top of the stairs, the princess stalls, eyes fixed on the cabin. You can see attention seize her. She's unsure of herself for the first time in her long and short existence. She has no part to play anymore, and she knows this. Yes, she still is. And then she crosses the room to the door outside. You follow her confident steps.
This is it. I have no idea what it's gonna be like out there. Not that I'm scared or anything. It's exciting, really. Anything could happen. And if it's bad, then it won't be bad. Not with you.
Are you ready?
Of course I am. Are you?
Shit, let's do it. And that's Slay the Princess. Oh, this game, I fucking love it, dude. It's so good. I think what I'm probably going to do, I want to full on disagree with the Shifting Mound, and then I want to leave with the Shifting Mound just to get those two different sides covered. Like there's so many different endings to this game. Like there is a lot of endings, because as you heard from the princess, that first meeting that we had, I didn't have the knife in hand, so she remembers that first meeting. So depending on what princess you got first can change the ending of this game. So me going through that will be a lot. I cannot do that in just one video. At least not at the moment. I'm pretty kind of limited to how I can do videos at the moment. But I am hoping to change that in the future. So I am going to show an outcome where I'm constantly challenging the Shifting Mound. And then I'm going to show the outcome where I full on agree with it. I always like that art. That's scheming face. But yeah, I do want to show that. I do want to show those different things. Thank you so much for playing. As an expression of our gratitude, here's the track order for a special playlist just for you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the hard work they did in this game. This game is amazing. I was blown away when I first played this game. Oh, these are just straight up hints. The Princess and the Dragon. To excise another is to excise oneself. Oh, the adversary sticker is so fucking adorable. The song we write in our blood. I have played a little bit on my own. I could not. Oh my god! Look at the witch. She's so adorable. This final part was pretty long, so I didn't want to just cut out a whole bunch of different parts, because I did kind of talk on my thoughts about a lot of stuff in this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to split the final into two parts. So this will be part one, and then I will probably do an edit part two later when it comes to other options with the shifting mount and how this game can end. So I just wanted to let it be known here I will be doing those other parts. The video was just running longer than I thought it was going to, and I just want to do it a little bit of justice and not have to cut a lot of stuff out. But I appreciate you for watching if you made it this far, because I feel like I just been doing like a lot of just yapping off the top of my head, and it's just been kind of looping. So again, I really do appreciate it. Thank you.